All right, we're good. I got this recorded.
Oh, it's about to go down. This is a smoke show right here.
All right, let's get it.
We got one of our riders already in here. We waiting on the other one.
Yeah. Yo, man, you got to start doing these a little earlier, bro.
Hey, man, we got a lot of folks on the West Coast, man. It's prime time.
They can listen. They gonna be in traffic anyway on the West Coast. They can listen to it at 5:30.
That's when they listen to it.
No, but we talking about dog. We talking about this is like 9:30. Oh, okay. Will's in the building. Let's get it.
Oh shit. Oh, we loaded up. We rocking. We rocking heavy. Okay. Brother Rich, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Brother Will, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
All right. We just setting up everything. A couple people filing in, man. We already know we're just gonna give it a couple minutes, and then we about to get right to it. Pedal to the flow, all gas, no brakes. Everyone who's in the room, if you could share this right now so we get a lot of folks in here. It's going to be a lot of good work today. It's going to be a lot of clean, a lot of real good energy, a lot of real clean, certified energy. But it's going to definitely go down tonight.
Yes, sir. And I will be doing the recap tomorrow evening on the channel.
Okay, make sure you send that to me, brother, and I'll go ahead and post that up on my page today so we can get everybody ready.
While they're talking, I will set up the stream and I'll have it during the show. I'll put it in the Jumbotron.
Yes, indeed. I'm saying probably about 2 or 3 more minutes. I got some people DMing me saying they coming, so we're gonna get this all locked and loaded, ready for everybody. But we're gonna have a real good, clean, healthy debate. You know, it might get a little live, but we all grown. There's no kids in here. This is what it's supposed to be, not prim and proper, but everybody's gonna speak their piece. Everyone's gonna take their turn, and we're gonna say everything that needs to be said, and we're gonna have a good, clean one. 2 respectable, honorable brothers. The co-host is solid. I don't want to say contestants. This ain't no damn game show and shit. So I guess the riders, the 2 speakers, all the hosts, we all good. We all certified, and we're gonna get to the facts.
So, is anybody gonna lead to start off with a prayer?
Not me.
Would you mind if I did it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Floor is yours.
Okay. Whoever you guys prayed to, thank you for Black Alpha to set this up. Thank you for him trusting me with this task of being the moderator. I would also like to thank Brother Rich and Brother Will. We know it's busy. We're all adults. And, you know, to find time to get the energy together for this, I would like to thank those 2 brothers. And also to the person that you serve. May exchange of ideas be pleasant, not hateful, because we know the white supremacists are going to be listening because they need talking points. And we just also want to say, you know, if you are off code, you can hold your own nuts. In Francis Cresswell's name, we pray. Everybody say B1.
B1 on this side. All right, we're going to have some questions. We got them all mapped out. They're going to be thorough questions. There's not going to be any loopholes in it. Every question is direct, so every answer is going to be direct. There's nothing funny style going on. Each brother's going to have their chance to speak. Each brother's going to have their chance to have a rebuttal, but everything is going to be clean and to the point. But the main goal is to talk about Black folks getting reparations and any opposing views or anything other than that. But it's all good Black folks in this room having an honest, you know, straight debate, no side swiping. Everything is clean. If you have any questions that you want to ask our 2 speakers, DM the co-host Queen Alpha. She'll relay them to me, and then we'll get them on. And after we're done with the debate, I want to bring on some speakers so everybody can have instant reactions and people can say what they want to say. But remember also, we're going to do a full live recap on Kid Gravity's channel. So make sure you subscribe to Kid Gravity. Make sure you subscribe to Black Alpha Network. He's not here right now. Hopefully he pulls up, but make sure you subscribe to our brother Afro Elite as well. But we're going to get right to it. Rich, are you ready for the go?
I'm ready for the go. Just let the family know what's going on. Fill them in on what's about to happen.
All right, all right, all right. Check this out. We're gonna have a full, like I said, a lengthy debate. These two brothers, if you are familiar with our spaces, these two brothers have bumped heads on a couple issues before, and it was lively. And I put up some of the Twitter spaces on my YouTube channel, and everybody was talking about it. About 3 weeks ago, everyone was speaking about these brothers' exchanges because they were both coming from a position that they stand firm on. And that's the beauty of it. When two brothers stand firm on a position that they really believe in, and they can have an honest debate about it. So everyone had a good conversation about it. A lot of folks were saying they should debate. A lot of people were DMing us and saying, man, we need to make this a space and make it live. So me being me, Black Alpha Network, I'm never going to pass up on an opportunity to make things live. So I said, let's get this going. We communicated with the brothers. We corresponded with the brothers. We got a list of questions set up, and we're going to have a real debate. It's all about reparations. It's all about the Black community. So it's going to be about the relations of race in this country, but as well, again, to the reparations and what we can do to empower our community. And we're going to hear all sides. And then when we're all done, we're going to convene right back here and we're going to talk about it just like we would do at our house. But Brother Will, are you ready for roll?
Yes, sir. Waiting on you guys.
With that said, Kid Gravity, fire off with the questions. Let's get this thing started.
Good evening to all, and all a good evening. This is, we will dub this the Black Alpha Debate Channel and the Black Alpha Debate Space. And the topic is reparations. And the other part of what we'll be discussing is each brother's political and socio political views. But we will start with reparations because reparations seems to be a hot button topic. But before we get into that, we're going to allow each brother to answer the first question, just so the people that are in the room can have a clearer understanding who have been here before, but also people who are new to the space, they can sort of get caught up in what we've been discussing the last few weeks. So, any one of you guys can start, and then we'll go in a format back and forth. So, first question is for Will and Rich. State your political status and why are you a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Conservative, Liberal, two guns up, whatever. Be one. Just let everybody know who you are and why you have your views the way you do. So anyone can start first.
Brother Rich, you can go first, brother, because you on top. It's simply just because you on top, and then we'll follow. And then we can flip back and forth. So whoever goes first, the next one can go first the next time. But Brother Rich, go ahead and start that off.
Ladies first.
No comment.
Can we not do that, please? Let's not do that. Let's keep it respectful. Please, let's keep it respectful. Told you the white supremacists are listening.
All right. On a serious note, I got no bad blood with our brother Will. We have opposing views, but I do honestly believe his heart is in the right space. We just got to get him straightened up a little bit. But I don't have no bad blood towards him. Anything I say in this debate is nothing personal. It's all business. It's all about B1. And you can hit me with the question. And by the way, I'm joking. So I'm gonna throw jokes in there. If Will could take jokes, I'm gonna throw some jokes in there.
Okay. Now, again, the question is for you, Rich. Please just briefly explain to people your ideologies and which side of the political spectrum, if you are part of it, that you reside on, just so people can have a better understanding of who you are.
Okay, well, to answer the question, I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I'm for black people. So whatever benefits black people the most, whatever laws or privileges or any type of memorandum that supports black people, that advances black people, that's the direction I'm heading. So, for example, you're like, okay, what do you mean? So, if the Democrats have something that can benefit black people, then I'll sit at the table with the Democrats. If the Republicans have something that can benefit black people, then I'll sit with the Republicans at the table. My vote is for sale. So I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I'm black first, and my agenda is for black people. Period.
Thank you, Brother Rich. Will, you may go.
Hey, good evening. I thank you guys for having me on. To keep it simple, short, and sweet, I am a conservative. The reason why I'm a conservative is because I believe in the traditional family. I believe that the government should not have as much control as they have over people's individual lives. I support pro-life. I support justice for all, and when I say all, that means all people, all ethnicities, all religions. I believe justice is justice. I believe right is right and wrong is wrong, and I'm looking forward to the debate.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, folks, let us begin and have some fun tonight. So, as Black Alpha said, we came up with some questions, and we feel that these questions will spark lively discussions. So, the first one is we'll start with Brother Will. Do you believe in reparations for foundational Black Americans, affectionately called FBA? Why or why not?
Okay. I think before, if I could ask, before we get into that aspect, if you all could just enlighten the audience who does not know what FBA means, let them know what that actually is. So a lot of people have clarity on that.
Black
I'll
Alpha,
take
I'll
that
let you
one.
take that.
Yes, indeed. Foundational Black Americans are Black people who are indigenous to the United States of America, Black people who are the descendants of slaves in the United States of America, Black people who were basically here before everybody else was. An old term, they used to say African American, that's an old term. That term is done, dead. We got rid of that. It's on the curb. Some people say indigenous Black American, some people say foundational Black American, but whether you use either one of those terms, just make sure you make it clear that we're talking about the people who were here first, who built the country, and the ancestors from the people who started this whole thing.
Okay. To give that a short answer, yes, in a sense, um, on the basis of history and things that we have actually been through here, things that has transpired.
Elaborate a little more, brother. I heard that answer,
Yes.
but elaborate a little further. Why do you support them in a deeper detail?
Well, you said, why do I support them? The reason why I support them is just throughout history. I think everyone in America can agree upon that. One, what happened with the slave trade and the Middle Passage was completely wrong. The way that foundational Black Americans have been dealt with in the past has been wrong, and there should be some type of reparations to basically put us on the same path as everyone else. When we look at different things that has happened in history, yes, I would support that, but I'm not sure if it's on the way that you all may agree on. So that's why I'm trying not to get too heavy in it, because I know we have several questions tonight, and I know we are on a time limit. So just to answer the question in a sense, yes, but probably not in the way that you all are seeing it.
All right, thank you for that. Rich?
Could you ask the question one more time?
The question is, do you believe in reparations for foundational Black Americans?
Yes, I do believe in reparations for foundational Black Americans, and the reason why is because, as you guys know, the JEWs got it, the Asians got it, and we have foundational Black Americans have been through a million times worse than what they've been through, and still have gotten nothing. Um, they promised us 40 acres and a mule, and here we are 400 years later, we didn't even get a mule yet. So I 100% back reparations for foundational Black Americans, because foundational Black Americans deserve it.
Thank you, sir, for that. Now, we'll start with Rich on this. Rich, we have heard many forms of reparations from land to checks, and even the coons have said they wanted extra biscuits. But seeing as you have stated you are for reparations for foundational Black Americans, what type of reparations do you propose?
Cash, 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 cash.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
All right. Thank you so much. Will, what form of assistance or reparations do you believe is acceptable for foundational Black Americans?
Okay. I actually have 7 points. Point number one is not based upon the government. It's us coming together. For number two is financial literacy. After that, I say education, the education system. On top of that, I would say, let me see. I believe that there should be programs made or created that. I also believe that there should be a criminal justice reform. Um, and those are the stances that I'm mainly standing on. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you both for your answers. Very good.
Brother
Let
Rich,
us.
would you like to rebuttal that?
Yes.
I certainly would like to rebut that because he said yes, he's for reparations, but then he said he got 7 points, and none of those points covered cash reparations. So I want him to clarify what does he mean by those 7 points. The criminal justice system, criminal reform. He mentioned that. He mentioned what else did he mention? He mentioned financial literacy. Is he saying that that's reparations? I'm a little bit confused here. I need some clarification.
Well, his question was what form of reparations does he believe would be acceptable for foundational Black Americans?
So basically, his final answer, Will, your final answer is that that's what you believe reparations is. Those 7 points.
That's what he would like to see.
Right.
Well, I want Will to answer because I need the clarification from. I don't want to mistake his words.
Right. So when he asked me what would I like to see happen for reparations for financial Black Americans, that is my answer. There is a 7 point that I would like to know to be seen. Again, the first one is us coming together. That does not take the government. Financial literacy. That does not take the government. Education system. That does take the government of as far as it goes with funding. When we look at the monuments that African American or foundational Black Americans have in this country that are not taught to none of the children. So all them they're getting taught is basically that they were slaves and that they were free, and that there were very few limited amount of doctors, inventors, things of that nature. Outside of that, I do 100% support there being funding for Black farmers, Black businesses, and there should be a criminal justice reform. Those should be part of the reparations that I want to see.
Got it. So just to clarify, you said the first one was us coming together, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, if the host don't mind, I would like to get into the definition of the word reparations. And I'm looking at it here, and it says the making of amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. So my question is, my confusion comes in when he says he wants us to get together, but how is that reparations by us getting together? Shouldn't another group of people be providing reparations? How are we providing reparations to each other by just getting together?
Brother Will, feel free to answer any rebuttal. We're going real, we're going live. So fire off as you please.
Yeah. Okay. And the reason why I said that is number one on my list is because one, you're always going to constantly have people asking for reparations until we can come together and in a sense and ask for something. It will constantly be this group fighting against this one, this group fighting against this one, this group asking for this, and it's going to be a lot of confusion going on, opposed to us coming together, putting the differences aside, sitting down, and making an actual goal on what we're going after. Oh, and by the way, when it says making amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping, that's in the or otherwise helping. We have to come together. That has to be encouraged in the community. Right now in the community, we are encouraged to fight each other based upon skin, based upon political stance, based upon almost
Okay, but
everything in the
wait,
community. So
but
when we say or otherwise helping those that have been wrong, the way that can be helped is us coming together.
okay, but I'm still confused because you said us coming together. We don't have anything. So when we come together, how are we giving each other reparations? Shouldn't reparations come from the people that wronged us?
Well, no, I said now this is why in the beginning I said that I agree with reparations, but it may be on a different note than what you're on in the beginning. Again, when you have several groups, you have the NAACP, you have the National Reparations Committee, you have several committees that are asking. I mean, in California, you had the Reparations Committee out there asking that finally agreed to have reparations based upon lineage, which gets back into the foundational Black American claim. So whenever you are looking at it from that standpoint, we have to get on the same note on what we're asking for. You know, just to get down to nitty gritty of it, we'll look at other groups and we'll say, well, these people got this, these people got this. Well, what was the way that they got there? What was the way that they received this? How did they go about doing this? And if you look at it in history, you had a group of people, regardless of their stance, that stood together and that said, okay, we're looking for justice in this form. Whereas over here, you have some people asking for cash payments, check payment, run that check. You have other people asking for governmental programs. You have other people saying baby bonds.
So by your if we was to choose, if we was to go down your direction of receiving reparations, then by definition, us being on this Twitter space today with Black people is coming together. So by definition, this is reparations right here. This conversation we having with 40 people in here.
Not necessarily. And the reason why I said not necessarily is because several of these spaces that I have been in, there has been a lot of conflict in those spaces where you have people of
Yeah, but
opposing
I'm
views.
talking about this one right here, this
Right,
space
and
right here.
I'm talking about this one right here. Right now, you say we have about 40 people in here. I'm sure some of us may have different stances. So again, we have to put those stances together, and we have to come together towards a specific goal. Again, if you have a billion people in one room, okay. Well, let me get this back on track. If you when you had the 40 acres and a mule claim, this is in history. You can look this up. You can go to history.com wherever you want to go to get your information from. There were 4.1 million slaves that were freed, right? So when the 40 acres and a mule came about, it was actually for a plot of 400,000 acres of land. So if you divide that up, that is 10.25 acres of land for every Black American. But the catch was in history, the catch was they had to go there until they had to work, or they agreed to work the land. All this is in history. They agreed to work that land, and over time they would make enough money to own the land. However, that did not fall through. President Lincoln was assassinated. Then another president came in.
I don't
They
think we need
restored
it.
that.
I don't think we need
Well,
to be educated, brother.
well, the
I think
reason why education is also very important is because we have to look at what are we actually trying to get done and what has happened in history that has hindered that from getting done. Just a second ago, you said that you wanted the 40 acres and a mule. We didn't have the 40 acres and a mule, whereas
I
that
did
was
not
at the
say
base.
that. That's not what I said.
Earlier in when the debate first got started, you said we haven't even received the 40 acres nor a mule.
Correct. That's what I
Right.
said. The first statement you just said was not what I said. I didn't
Okay.
say we want it. That's not what I said.
No,
But
no.
go.
I said that the thing that I said, Rich, and I know you want to get into a heated debate, but this is why listening is very important. The
Yeah,
point
this
that
is.
I
But
made
you
is
didn't. But
that
you didn't
you
listen though.
said,
You took my words and you twisted it. I didn't
well,
say. I didn't say we wanted. I said we were owed 40 acres in a mule
no,
and we didn't
you
receive.
said that. Yeah, you said that we have not received 40 acres and a mule. I
Okay,
never said that you wanted that.
just now, you just said I said that we wanted it. That's two different
Okay,
things.
well, I tell you what. If you're saying if I made that mistake and say that that is what you said you wanted, then I apologize about that. However,
No,
that
no,
is
no, no need to apologize. No need
no.
to apologize.
Well.
I'm just making
The
sure.
reason why,
Because
yeah,
whatever
I
I
think that
say,
we're on the same page. I got you.
exactly. Go ahead.
But now, again, the point that I was making was that you said that as of yet, no one has received that 40 acres and a mule. That was promised to the workers that came there that tilled the ground and that would make enough money to own that land, that will also enlist their children in the service in different battalions in the community. So if we're going to look at this in the sense of, okay, well, we were owed this, we haven't received it yet, well, we want to know what was up. That's why the history is very important, because we have to also understand what has happened in history. How can a person move forward without knowing their past? You have to know your past. That's how you get forward.
If y'all not following this space and tweeting it out, I don't know what y'all doing. That's what I'm talking about. Two brothers having a disagreement, but they outlined their points perfectly, and we got clarity. And hopefully, y'all taking notes because the other spaces don't do this. Y'all be hearing a whole bunch of babble. But we're going to continue with reparations because this is again the hot button topic of the year. So I believe I will start with Rich on this. So, Brother Rich, what is your proposal for Black America after receiving reparations?
My proposal is for them to do whatever it is they want. And I know some people are like, did Rich just say that? Yes, I did just say that. When you owe somebody money, what they do with that money when you give to them is not on you. Whatever it is they decide to do with that money is on them. So if Black Americans want to go buy weed, like, and this is all the stereotypes too, weed, Jordans, Versace, Gucci, do whatever it is you please with that money because you were owed that money and you dictate what you do with that money. If I owe $40 to every single person in here, and then when it's time to give that $40 up to every single person in here, who am I to go tell them, oh, don't go buy weave with that, don't go buy clothes with that, don't go buy a house with that, don't go buy this or that with that? That is not on me. It's not on me to determine what they spend their money on. It's on them. So to answer your question, whatever it is they decide to spend that money on, it's on them. Now, that's not to say I don't have suggestions and I don't have, some thoughts and plans that I believe we should consider. I absolutely do. But like I said before, it's not on me to determine where someone spends their money that they're owed.
Can I enter a rebuttal real quick there, or a question rather? Rich, or excuse me, Brother Rich, what amount are we looking for?
Well, I'm not an economist, but according to these black economists out there, I believe we're talking about upwards of 20 trillion. Um, and I believe a lot of economists say we could start there. So I'll say 20 trillion and
Uh,
up.
which economist are you referring to?
Dr. Sandy Darity, I hope I pronounce his name correct.
Yes, Dr. Darity.
And so you're asking for financial Black Americans to receive $20 trillion. Is that is that
No, I'm no. You see, you're misconstruing my words again. I didn't say I'm asking. You asked me, what do I believe? I said according to our black economists, not according to me. I'm not an economist. I don't sit there and do math all day, and I'm not an accountant. So it's not on me. I'm saying what the economists are saying. They study this for a living, and I'm saying what they're saying, and I'm allowing them to lead on that subject.
okay? So again, what you're leaning on though, or leaning towards, according to the study that you've done, is $20 trillion, and then that will make everything go away. That would be reparations. So everyone would get what they're owed. Is that correct?
No, I believe that's the starting point. 20 trillion is where we start talking and where we start dividing the checks. I believe that's the starting point. And by the way, I'm not foundational Black American, so I don't determine what foundational Black Americans can get, what they should receive or should not receive. I'm just a fellow soldier in this war, and I'm here to help and give my resources to it. But I am no scholar, no authority when it comes to this. I know when to fall back, and I know when to move forward. And I will never disrespect foundational Black Americans and start pushing buttons that I shouldn't be pushing.
Thank you, brother Rich.
Well, can I get one more rebuttal? It's not
Go
necessarily a
ahead.
rebuttal, but I'm trying to get clarity on what he's actually, saying. Okay, so now with this $20 trillion, you're saying run that check. Is that correct?
I didn't say run that check. No, I didn't say that. I'm saying black economists have said that foundational black Americans are owed upwards of 20 trillion. 20 trillion is not the final number, but we're talking about nothing below 20 trillion.
Okay. Now, could you do me one favor? Could y'all put
Brother
that?
Will, before you say that, I just want to say if you guys have questions and you want to come up and speak, I appreciate that. Black Alpha appreciates that. Can you go back down in the queue and save that for later? Please. That's all I'm asking. Please
Yes,
go
hey, we're
back
gonna take
down as
requests.
listeners.
Yeah, we're
Please.
going to take requests after everything is done and these brothers debated. We're going to have immediate reactions. So save the request because a lot of people are trying to get in. I got a lot of DMs and I got a lot of
Yes,
requests. So we're gonna
I've
get
written down the names of the two people that requested so far. So if once we do that, if they're still here, we'll get to them first. But please go back down as listeners, please.
now let's get back to this debate because it's hot. Let's go.
Yes, Will, you may continue.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking, or if he could y'all put that in the is it called the jumbotron? Is that called the jumbotron of
Yes,
the
sir.
economist that he mentioned, so I can see that plan?
Yes, you both can put whatever you need to put in there in the jumbotron.
Okay, I'm kind of fairly newer to Twitter, so I don't know how to do that.
Well, basically, any tweet you put up, you can just push that share button, and at the top it'll have the Twitter space there, so you can just add whatever you want, and everybody
Oh,
will see it.
okay, cool. And the reason why I'm asking these questions, because right now all the reparations that I have been looking at, when we go up in the trillion price tags, I have not seen one where those were direct payments to Foundation of Black Americans. We see these as implementing programs. We see these as implementing baby bonds. We see these as implementing all these other things than what Brother Rich said in the beginning of the debate of when he made the claim that if I'm owed money, I should be given the money that I'm owed. Well, no. If you look at what they're talking about right now, what's the talking point? We're looking at programs. We're looking at baby
No, no,
bonds.
no, no, no. You're looking at that,
No, no.
not everybody else.
This is
Everybody in here is looking at cash. You looking at a whole bunch of programs that ain't gonna do shit for us. But go
yeah.
ahead.
But you referenced, that's why I say if you could put that in Jumbotron, because right now what's going on, okay, and I'm gonna put this in Jumbotron on my end. That way, I'm trying to get us on the same page. Because you referenced some economists where they said 20 trillion. The highest that I've seen so far has only been 10 to 12 trillion. But I guess I'll put this in the Jumbotron so everyone can see it.
Again, make sure you guys are tweeting this space out. We want to blow these numbers up. But while Will is getting that done, put out y'all reactions to what you've heard so far. You can put the hearts, claps. I don't know if they had thumbs down. Put whatever you want. I need to know how the room is feeling so far.
I'm gonna chime in real quick too. This is a Black Alpha debate, so it ain't prim and proper. It's straight real. It's straight to the point. It's B1 certified energy, and it's gonna keep going. I'm gonna let both these brothers say what they need to say, speak what they gotta speak. We're not gonna try to reel them in. We're not gonna try to put no leashes on them. We're gonna go at this straightforward because that's the only way you get things done. All that nice shit and all that sweet stuff that's not where that's not really where we are. We need to really stay true to it and let these brothers get off. So that's why if it gets real and it gets heavy, this is no different than us at our own houses. But to the two brothers with requests, we got to have y'all come down, remove yourself. So we're gonna have to remove you. We're gonna have to remove you because we got a lot of people coming in. So take you down, and we got your names. We'll bring you in. Go ahead, brother kid.
I ain't seeing no emojis. Come on, people. I need to know how the room is feeling. I know it's been a long day. It's 10 o'clock, 7 o'clock for y'all on the West Coast, but I need to know. This will determine if we continue doing things like this. All right, brother Will, you have sent me something. I will put it in the jumbotron for you. I gotta put this as a tweet though, so you gotta give me 1 second. All
Yeah,
right.
I tried to do it on my own, but I didn't see the option to do it, so I had to send it to you guys.
No, that's fine. So, but you can continue while I do that,
Well,
unless you
no,
were finished.
that's why. That's why when we have these conversations, and we reference that it was 20 trillion here or it's 10 trillion here, we have to look at the way that it's broken down. So if you're not supporting the way that it's broken down, then the talking point is kind of null and void. That's in order to make a claim, it has to be backed up by facts. Facts meaning that something that you can prove. So when we say that we're going after $20 trillion for reparations, we need to know what is that based on. How is that going to get paid down? Are these funding options? Is this going to be like the 40 acres and a mule when you had 4.1 million slaves that were freed and they were promised or they were told that if they came and worked 400,000 acres of land and in time had made the money to own that land that it would be theirs. But then when the time came that because they weren't the owners of that land and the restoration program happened in history, they didn't get it. That's why we have to know what's going on. He mentioned the $20 trillion by a black economist. I'm just asking to see what plan did that economist have, which I think is a very simple claim to ask.
Okay, you're asking me what plan does that economist have?
Yes, when you make your basis for reparations based upon black economists, and you say, well, some have referenced $20 trillion. I'm asking if they reference the $20 trillion, what was that broken down in? Was that cash payments? Was that
Cash, cash, cash,
okay?
cash,
Well, then
cash,
submit
cash,
that.
cash.
Wait. So now there's a difference between what you're saying and then what the economist that you're referencing said. Now you can make claims all day. We deserve cash payments for $20 trillion. But now, as you said before, you're not an economist. So now you're using a plan for someone else, and the only thing I'm asking for is almost like the receipt of that plan, so we can see what are they lobbying for. That way, people can get behind that. But to sit back and say, okay, we're going to ask for cash, 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 okay, but that's not what was presented. It's just like if you had a candidate running for presidency and they run on the basis of being a superhero and they get everyone riled up for them being a superhero. Then you go back to their page and you see that no, they're not a superhero. They're a villain. They're here to steal from the people. They're here to take tax money to be private investors. Even though they gave you a campaign claim of us being a superhero, when you look at their rap sheet, it doesn't add up.
Okay, right now what you're doing is you're basically on a bike and you're riding no, you're inside of a car and you're riding down a one-way street. I don't know how me saying other economists like Sandy Deddery said 20 trillion is what is owed to black Americans. I don't know how you took that and said that basically whatever he says I agree with. That's not what I'm saying here. You asked me a question and I answered your question. Don't tie me and Sandy Derrity together. I,
Well,
I do not I don't know all the details of what he's got going on. My purpose of mentioning his name and that number was to answer your question.
right, and that goes back to what I just said. The reason why I'm asking this is because again, you came up with a number $20 trillion. Right now, there's 41. I think there's 41.1 million black people in America. There has to be a study on how many are how foundationally black Americans. But nevertheless, you're asking or you're proposing that to get the cash payments of what we're asking for or what we're suggesting we should get or what this black economist suggests should get. I'm just asking for that plan so I can read that. A lot of times, I'm the type of person who likes to get facts and likes to
Well,
get.
if you want the plan, when you sign off for here, you can go look at the plan. I'm not here to present anyone's plan. Like I said, you asked me a question, I answered your question. I answered you. The first question you asked me was how much in reparations should foundational black Americans get? I answered that question. I said 20 trillion. And I said according to black economists like Sandy Derry, there's nothing else I could do for you when it comes to this particular conversation. If you want to move forward and digest something else, we can do that. But trying to tie me to somebody else that I don't even know or don't even have no details of, I'm just referencing what he got going on and what he's been got going on in his book and in his legacy, that's two totally different things.
And you said this. What was this guy's name? Doctor.
Dr. Sandy Darity, Darrity. He's referenced in that article that you sent me.
Okay. Well, in that article that I sent, I don't see anything in there that says $20 trillion. But in the one that I sent you, you'll see where they're waging the baby bonds and they're waging all these other programs that are not that don't coexist with what he's claiming. The closest thing to that is when they said they'll give $800,000 per, I think it was per household for a reparation. But this is after they get the funding. This is after, or not necessarily get the funding because they definitely have it, but this is after they decide where that money is going to come from. Now, when I came into this debate, the reason why I'm here is so that there can get clarity. So, Rich, I'm not attacking you in any way, any means at all whatsoever.
You're
However,
not attacking
I'm
me, but right now you're babbling. That's what you're doing because
not not necessarily.
you keep mentioning what someone else has said and trying to tie me into that. That has nothing to do with me. Host and co-host, if you want to present another question, but this guy is, he's riding down a one-way street.
Yes, that was lively. Thank you so much for both of you. We're getting off reparations now. I appreciate your stances on that. I think the people that have been here before and the people that are new understand where your stances are, and we'll let them decide who they agree with or disagree with. But we shall continue. We are going to move over now into politics, specifically also sociopolitics. So I shall start with Will. What do you feel about the current race relations in America? Are they good, bad, decent? How do you feel about it?
Okay. This comes back to again at me asking for clarity. When you say when I look at the race relations, what am I comparing this to? Now, if I'm looking at this in comparison to my entire life, I would say that everything is good right now. But I need to know what we are comparing this to.
Well, considering that a lot of us in this space are under 40, I would assume, we'll go from when it was in the 80s to the crime bill era to the Obama era. We'll even add the Bush 2 era into it. Trump, and now here we are about 2 years into a year and a half into Biden. So we'll go with that timeline.
With that timeline, I'll say that it is decent. I believe that it is decent.
Okay, can you elaborate?
Yes, the reason why I say that it is decent is because we're not living in a time where we have outward policies or outward people that are attacking the black community. Right now, we're living in a community where a person can decide to be whatever they want and work towards getting that. We're living in the greatest time that there has been in America.
Can I interrupt?
Let him finish, Rich. Let him finish, Rich. You'll get a chance to rebuttal.
Well, he can come on in. He can come on
Say
in.
less. All right. Say less.
So this guy just said, compared to back in the days, race relations is okay. Is that what you said? I just want to clarify.
Well, no, he asked me about the specific areas for our time. Again, I'm 28, so a lot of like in the 80s, I wasn't alive, so I can't give a comment on the 80s as my personal experience. Now, since I've been alive, I would say that it is decent in
Okay, but
America.
I believe the co-host is saying based on history. Do you believe back in the days race relations was better,
Oh no,
or
absolutely not. I mean, you're talking about back in the day when there was slavery, when you had actual hate groups that were
Whoa,
out.
whoa, whoa! I didn't go back that far.
Okay, well,
I said before between the 80s till today. Now you said you're 28, so you came up within the 90s. So you
right,
were late 90s when you were early 2000s when you were aware of what was going on.
right.
Right. So let's keep it to the specific chronological order that I had. the 80s with the crack era, Reagan, up until now, which is a year and a half of Biden. Let's keep it there.
Okay. Well, then again, if we're looking at a time period where you had hate groups that were out, that were actively attacking black organizations, black cities, minorities of all, as hate word, compared to right now, if we're comparing those two, things are a lot better right now than what they've ever been. In comparison of those two.
So is the police department all across the United States of America? They're not considered hate groups.
Mm, I wouldn't necessarily consider the task force as a hate group. I would consider the people that are committing the crimes as people that can be considered to be racist or
Are when you say
outwardly
people
wrong.
when you say people committing crimes, are you talking about uh, uh, civilians, or are you talking about police
No,
officers?
no, I'm talking about specific police officers that have done horrible things to civilians, and nothing has happened. That's what I'm speaking on when I say that I wouldn't necessarily say that the task force itself is a hate group, but now you do have hateful people in the task force, just like you have racists in every city, everywhere.
So basically, what you're saying is there's a few bad apples in the police departments all around the United States of America.
I believe it's a lot more than a few, but yes.
Okay. Well, the FBI came out with a report in 2003 basically saying that white supremacists have infiltrated law enforcement. So for you to say that things have gotten better when there was a time when there was the KKK and all of these hate groups until now, I mean, that's kind of strange to me. In my opinion, it either is the same or it gotten worse. There's no way in hell it gotten better when you got white supremacists all across the United States infiltrating law enforcement.
Okay. Now you just referenced what report did you just reference,
The FBI,
and what year?
2003, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Do not quote me on the year. Or
Okay, no, brother. Again, I'm not here to digest you. I'm just here to compare the facts. So back in 2003, um, I have never read that report, but just on the gist of what you said back in 2003, it was a very different time. You did have radical groups that
no,
came
no,
out.
no, no, no. It's not a different time. We got
Uh,
California in California
it
right
is
now. There's in California right now. There's literally white supremacist gangs. In order for you to join the LAPD right now in California, you have to join the white supremacist gang. So that is not a different time. We living in the same damn time.
okay. Now, again, back to the point that I was making. Back in 2003, which was the year that you claim, we don't know if it's the exact year, but it is in the gist. In that year, you did not have widespread groups that came out and did an outcry for an event that happened. In history, in 2013, you had one of the most influential groups out. I don't agree with them on several of their points, but you did have a group called Black Lives Matter that came out. When Black Lives Matter came out, you had people talking about that's how reparations came to the forefront. That's how social justice came to the forefront because you had these groups that came out uh, as a response to the hate crime. Now, when you reference that you happen to join the LAPD in California by joining a white supremacist group, I have never heard that. But what I will say is that in the same city that you just referenced, California, that has been the only city so far that has a reparations team. So I just kind of find that almost like working against the point that you just made to reference a city that is saying that in order to be in the LAPD, you have to be a white supremacist. But this is the same city and almost the only city that has a reparations claim,
So
which is
basically, what you're saying is two things can't be true at the same time.
no. I never said two things can't be true at the same time. I'm saying you're referencing a point of something that I've never heard, and I'm comparing that to the fact of their California being the only city that has a reparations task force. So again, I would ask to give me time so I can research that, or if you can put that in the jumbotron. Again, the other day you said you're going to get your paperwork ready. So now when you reference that you have to be a white supremacist to join the LAPD in California, I don't see that as a factual claim. But again, if you can show me that, I can elaborate on that. But I don't. So sometimes you can have ideas. So only thing I'm asking for now is a receipt. Show me where in California the LAPD is saying that you have to be a part of the white supremacy or join white supremacy.
Well, just to clarify, I don't need to get my paperwork ready. My paperwork been ready. And if you're looking for receipts, then that's on you. I'm not here to educate you. I'm here to school you, and make sure you know what the stances that you have is 100% detrimental to Black society. The fact that you don't know that white supremacists have infiltrated law enforcement, that tells me a lot about your belief and your stance.
Well, not necessarily. So before we even got into the California claim that you made, you asked me if I believe that there are a few bad apples in the bunch, and I said, well, no. If we're looking at task force, it's a lot more than a few bad apples that are in the bunch. You have racist cops. You have cops that are good. You have cops that are crazy. You have
What?
cops that are bad.
Show me where the good cops are. Could you point to
Okay,
me?
easily look at every community. If there were bad cops on every corner, there would be an outcry of crime, an outcry of murders in every city at the same exact time. Whereas right now in the media, which is horrible, which is why I think a lot of people are coming to the new black media to give them facts and truth, and why people are looking at conservatives to give them truth, because right now you have a national narrative being pushed that in a lot of cases people would say that police are bad, that police are racist. That is a narrative that is in the community.
What you just said was false. It is proven that having a bunch of cops in one location actually does not decrease crime. This is a proven fact. I don't know if you noticed, but this is a proven fact.
Well,
I mean,
Rich,
I mean,
what is that in response to?
and you're Mr. Reference guy, since you need a reference.
Yeah.
You love references. Malcolm X said this back in 1964. He said, "Look at the black community. You have a whole bunch of cops inside the black community, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing has changed. So that means there's no, they bring no value to our communities. They just
Mm-hmm.
bombard us with police officers, and the
Right.
crime still never decreases." So Malcolm X said this back in 1964. I know you love receipts.
Yeah.
I just gave you one.
Yeah, yeah, and guess what? I think Malcolm X, the Honorable Malcolm X, is a great person to listen
Hey,
to.
brother, you over here, you're drifting again. This is not your time to start drifting and naming Malcolm X
Well,
and
no, no,
his
no.
quotes. I
What
know
I'm
all
doing,
his
I'm
quotes.
responding to the point that you made.
I'm just
Now, the point
referencing.
that you made, you referenced a claim where back in 1964, where again you had a widespread of white supremacist groups such as the KKK that were out attacking other groups such as what was it, the Black Panther, such as the Muslims in that time. You had groups that were actually fighting. So to compare 1964 to claim to 2022, it still, and guess what, it still does happen, but it happens at a very substantial less rate than what it was happening there. Now that does not mean that it is right, it is wrong, but again, that comes with us coming together and standing up on these cases.
All right. Cool. Thank you, Brother Will, for that. Now, Rich, I propose the same question to you. What do you feel? How do you feel about the current race relations in America? Good, bad, decent? It can go to hell, however you want to answer it.
That's a very very tricky question. I know for sure it has not gotten better, but for me to say it has gotten worse or it has stayed the same, I would have to really dig deep and see, how much black folks got lynched, during the lynching days compared to how much black folks are getting shot by the cops in this day and age. The last article I read, it did say that more black people were killed by the cops than they were lynched during the last decade. But I'm not gonna sit here and ever say things have gotten better, because it has not gotten better. It's either gotten worse or stayed the same. Both answers is bad for Black America, because it needs to get better, not worse or stay the same.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. So we shall move on. I will start with Brother Rich on this question. According to you, and this is mainly an opinion, what is preventing the progression in the black community the most?
You said what is? Say the end of the sentence just one more
What
time.
is preventing the progression in the black community, the upward progression in the black community the most? What factors do you believe are
Got,
hindering our
got it.
progress?
Got it. Two things. Number one, the number one thing that's stopping progress in the black community is white supremacists. Number two is the white supremacist collaborators known as the coons. And I hope I answered your question.
Quick and to the point. I appreciate that, Brother Rich. Now, Brother Will, same question applies to you. According to you, what is preventing the upward progression of the black community the most?
What is preventing us the most from progressing? I would say lack of support and lack of education.
So we need more education. That's how things are going to get better.
No, but now if we look at it on a wide scale basis, right now there aren't on an uprise of black businesses that are being established. There aren't black farmers that are coming out on the left and right.
And why is that? Why is that?
Well, one, because of lack of support.
Lack of support from who?
One, the community. Two, the government. Again, a lot of my claims.
Okay, wait. So you said one, the community, and two, the government.
Yes.
If black people are the first of all, an article came out, and I know you love articles, you love receipts. I'm gonna give you another one. I stay with receipts. An article came out, I believe, 2 years ago that said black people will be the poorest group of people in America. I think they said by 2053. So how is where are we gonna get support from? How are we gonna support each other if we're poor? That's number
Well,
one. That's number one.
mm-hmm.
And number two, you said the government. So if you're saying the government, shouldn't you say white supremacists? Because two articles just came out literally last month that said Wells Fargo's denied black homeowners from refinancing their houses.
You're speaking on the claim of here in Georgia, which I referenced in our past conversation. But to get back on track, the reason why I said lack of support is when you do have these farmers that come out, they do need support from the community, no matter if it's vendors, no matter if it's people that are going to buy from a grocery store. They need that support. They need that dollar. I know farmers right now that it has been a little rougher on them to get funding. The reason why they can't get funding in some instances is because of not being able to produce certain documents or not having the means to get certain loans that they need for these businesses for these farms. So
So
that's
so
why.
why are white folks getting these loans and these and getting their homes refinanced? Because in the article, if you read it, it said Wells Fargo's allowed 70% of their applicants to refinance their homes, but only allowed about 20 or 30% of black people to refinance their home when the real estate market was booming. So please explain to me, why is it that black farmers and black homeowners are not allowed to do this, but the dominant society, white folks, are allowed to do it? You said it's the
Yeah.
government, and you said it's the lack of support from black people. This is why we're not progressing. Shouldn't it be white supremacists because they decide whether or not we get approved for these loans or not?
Well, not necessarily. So again, I'm a person who is actually in or getting into financial literacy, and this is what I see on a regular basis when you have these claims that come out. Now, Wells Fargo has been under fire about a lot of things, no matter if it has been about hiring Black Americans to be in the top chain. So Wells Fargo has been under attack for obvious reasons. So I won't touch on that aspect of it too much, but that is a great thing to reference. However, when you look at getting a home in all this comes back to financial literacy. When you look at getting a home refinanced, a lot of times the area that it's in matters. A lot of times what's going on in that city matters. Whereas I would suggest, now I have not read that article in depth, but from what I could understand, what I have talked with about with Wells Fargo employees is one of the claims that were brought upon on that decision was because of the crime uprise in Atlanta before the gentleman asked for the
Could I
refund.
ask you? Could I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you believe Do you believe we're in a system of white supremacy?
Now, before I answer that, I need you to define what.
It's a yes or no.
Well, no.
You
The reason
do
why
you
the reason why it's not a yes or no question is because we have to be on the same page. Now, when you say white supremacy, what are you referring to?
do you believe we're in a system of white supremacy where white supremacists decide what goes and what comes with whatever we do and whatever goes on in our community? Do you believe there's a system of white supremacy that is global, that dominates every single sector of human activity? Do you believe we're in a system like that? Yes or no?
No,
So you don't believe we're in a system of white supremacy, correct?
not.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Right.
All right. Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. And I'm sure Black Alpha agrees with me. We got to do this more often. This is what we like. We need to have brothers come and sit in the barber chairs and express their opinions. But we're
Hey, can
gonna
I chime
keep it.
in real quick, family? Let me chime in real quick.
Yes,
Everybody
sir.
in the room, if you could share this, it'd be real good. And we're gonna take a bunch of questions afterwards, and we're gonna let some people talk afterwards because I'm still getting a lot of requests. But this is live. This is how we do it. Black Alpha Network debate, straight to the point. Brothers being themselves, very thorough. Let's keep it going.
Yes, sir. Now, Brother Will, we will start you off with this. As a conservative, do you feel that Black America is accepting of your views, or do you feel your opinions are not valued or heard?
I think it depends on which group of Black Americans or financial Black Americans you're referring to. Do I believe that some people will agree with my point? Yes. Do I believe that some people will disagree with me? Well, of course. We don't live in a world where a person is going to agree with 100% of everything that everyone says. So, to answer your question, yes, on both ends, people are going to agree, people are going to disagree. Only thing that I would say is that we have to look toward the facts. And hopefully, we'll be able to touch on what Rich and I were just talking about, or Brother Rich and I were just talking about a second ago.
Okay, great. Because I'm glad that Brother Rich brought up white supremacy. I don't know, Brother Will, if you have been perusing Twitter lately, but there was a tweet that went semi viral the other day. I had done a video on it on my channel. But basically, this conservative commentator of Latino descent decided to tweet out that black on black crime is a greater threat than white supremacy. Now, again, mind you, she's of Latino descent, but she said that about black on black crime. Now, as a conservative yourself, and hearing what she tweeted out as a fellow conservative, do you think she is right on that, or do you think she's misguided?
Well, I think that is her opinion. Do I think her opinion is misguided? I believe it all depends on what information she's looking at. What happens with conservatives a lot of times, they'll look at different facts or factors that reference crime, and they'll make those claims. I understand the point that she was trying to make, but I don't think that her choice of words were suitable for what she was trying to, implement. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. You're basically saying that she didn't convey her point the way it should have been conveyed.
Right. I think a lot of times when you're trying to make a point, your choice of words is everything. Your choice of words is everything. Right now, white supremacy or the talk of white supremacy is on a uprise where it's a very touchy subject. So whenever you mention white supremacy and then you mention it too, or you reference a community that has had several cases where, there was evidence of white supremacy or maybe narcissism. Some people argue that it's narcissism and not so much white supremacy. But whenever you have that active in a community, you have to be very choosy with your words.
So you believe white people are out here committing crimes on black people because of narcissism?
Well, no, I believe that several people are very narcissistic. Yes, they're very self centered. They don't care about what anyone else says.
So,
We can,
so let me ask you one more time. So you
yeah,
believe there are some white people out here committing crimes not because they're white supremacists, but because they're narcissists?
yes, I do believe that.
Okay, let me just grab my.
Okay, now this is coming back to why when you say white supremacy, what are you referencing? Are you referencing?
We'll get into that. Hang on. Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah, well, the reason why I'm
But
asking for
I want
clarity is because he's asked that now twice, and
mhm.
still hasn't answered when I said when you
Right,
say
but
white
my
supremacy, what do
question
you reference?
also dealt with white supremacy, so I wanted to get his take on it, and then you two can go back and forth with the definition of white supremacy. But I just want to get Rich's thoughts on the tweet. So, Rich, as I said before, there was a Latino conservative female named Sarah Gonzalez. Y'all can go look up the tweet at Sarah Gonzalez TX. She said that black on black crime is a greater threat than white supremacy. So, how do you feel about what she said? Was she correct or was she misguided?
I believe she's a suspected white supremacist practicing white supremacy in a system of white supremacy, the same system that Mr. Will doesn't believe exists. But here we are, we have clear evidence. She's a white Hispanic, I believe. There's a whole bunch of gangs and violence going on in her community, but she has yet to mention that. But she knows a lot about black on black crime. So, to answer the question, she's a suspected white supremacist to me, and she's she's practicing white supremacy in a system of white supremacy.
Will, would you like to rebuttal that?
Well, yes, of course. The reason why I want to rebuttal that is not necessarily because Rich is wrong. Now again, we're going
I
to
gotta
get
be
into
wrong because according to you, there's no system of white supremacy.
well, correct. I don't believe there's a system of white supremacy, but I do believe that there are white supremacists in America. I think what she was trying to
Okay, but that doesn't make any sense because if there's white supremacists and there's no system, how are they getting off when they shoot us in the head and shoot us in the back? How is that happening?
well, now, are you referring to the task force? Are you? A lot of times, what happens when we have these type of conversations, you'll mention one case or a few cases where that has happened, and you won't mention the results nor the evidence that has happened. Now, in recent years, we had Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin is in jail. That's the gentleman who killed George Floyd. The
How
gentleman,
about how about George Zimmerman?
George Zimmerman. Now, he, if I'm not mistaken, he's actually in
Okay,
the
he's not in jail. How
community.
about how about Peter Liang?
Again, now,
Okay,
if you
he's not
go
in jail.
down,
how about the
well, no,
killer
no.
of
So,
Mike
so,
Brown?
so
How
there
about
is
the
a
killer of Mike
difference
Brown,
between
brother?
you talking about George
Okay, you
Zimmerman
love
and then
wait
you
wait wait. You
bringing up
love
another
receipts.
case.
You love
Yeah, yeah,
receipts.
I
You
do.
love
But now
receipts, and
your claim was
I'm
about
giving
white
I'm giving
supremacy.
you receipts, and you over
George
here
Zimmerman
stumbling,
is not
brother.
a white
I'm giving you receipts,
Answer
and
this question again, brother Rich.
you over here
Is George
stuttering, brother.
Zimmerman white? Is George Zimmerman white?
He is a white Hispanic, sir. Did you not know that?
Is he
He's
white?
mixed. Real, he's mixed.
Wait, no, no. Is he white or is he white mixed with Hispanic?
He's a white Hispanic. That's exactly what he is.
Okay,
That's what when he
right.
fills out his census, he puts white. He doesn't put
Well, okay.
Hispanic. He puts white. But go ahead,
Have you ever seen his census?
sir.
Now,
This is
again, I'm not advocating for George Zimmerman. I think that was very horrible. Do I believe that that was justice served? No. But then again, my first claim when I came into this debate is I believe in justice for all.
okay. But according to you, white supremacy doesn't exist. How
Right.
does white?
But now
No, wait, wait,
there
wait, wait,
is
wait, 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 wait. I'm
because this
sorry.
is
Let me
very
wait, wait,
easy.
wait, wait, wait,
There
wait.
is easy to
Let
have
me
a
take
white supremacist and have a
let
system
me
of
take
white
that back.
supremacy. That's a
Let me take
difference.
that back. According to you, the system of white supremacy doesn't exist. So how come I just named for you three suspected white supremacists who have killed black people and got away with it? If there's no system, how are they getting away with
Well,
these crimes?
Well, now since you referenced a police study earlier, I'll reference another police study where you had a gentleman study the police department, the task force across the nation. So what's going on in various communities? You have laws in place that are messed up that allow these things to happen. Now, it's not a conversation of if it's right or wrong, but if you're doing something in a community that allows this, then that's the problem there. That's what needs to be addressed. We need to get lawyers on that. We need to get people out there that are changing that law, because as long as that law is in place,
Okay, so
it can happen.
why do these laws work when it's time to convict black people, but it don't work when it's time to convict
Well,
white people?
that is one of the most misguided claims that you could have ever made. And the reason why I say that is because now, again, I believe, again,
Wait. It's misguided.
that's a
Wait.
misguided statement.
Wait. It's misguided.
Yes,
But according to you, you said you wanted criminal justice reform. And
yes,
why would you want criminal justice reform? As if you don't know that black men make up damn near 70% of the prisons pipeline in America.
right. And
So
and
so
the
so so my
majority of these
state
and the
so so
majority of
that
these things are
so
for
that makes
nonviolent claims.
that makes my statement true.
No, not at all. So, what you're doing right now is what you said that I did earlier to you, where you're taking something that I said and you're twisting it to fit the narrative that you're trying to present. However, if we can have this conversation, and I was not able to touch on my 7 point of criminal justice reform, where if I did touch on it, you would have understood that I would have made the claim that there are several people that are locked up right now that are in the black community that are in there for non-violent crimes. They're in there for first-time offenders, and they have gotten lengthy claims. Again, this is the this is the basis of a jacked up system. Now, is that system full of white supremacy? No, I don't believe that. However, if you do have a crooked system, you have a system that is set in place that does disfranchise people in the community. Why? Based on that community's laws, based on the laws of Florida, the laws of Georgia. So until we can go after each city laws, then we're just having a claim, and we're talking about or referencing white supremacy when there's something that we can do about it. I mean, I'm a person who believes that there are two type of people in the world: people that are going to complain about it, and the people that are going to do something about it. Now, nowhere in this will I ever incite violence. However, we can go after the laws. What law allowed that? What law needs to be changed? Should police officers be able to use deadly force on a
Okay,
person that is not
there's
posing like
laws
an imminent threat on them?
sir, there's laws out there that says a police officer shouldn't pull out a gun on a civilian if the civilian is not a threat. But here you got George Zimmerman who killed Trayvon Martin and didn't have a gun. You got Mike Brown who was killed by the police officer but
Right,
didn't have a gun. You have Peter Liang who was walking up his stairs in the projects and was killed by
right,
no, not Peter Liang, the black guy who was killed by PDA and who did not have a gun. All these people are unarmed. George Floyd was unarmed. So you're
right.
mentioning laws, and the laws are not working. So what is it here? Does white
Okay.
supremacy exist,
Simple.
or does it not exist?
No.
Because if it don't exist, but white supremacists or white people are getting away with these crimes, then what is it? Because we have a whole bunch of black men in jail. When it's time for black men to go to jail, they go straight to jail. But when it's time for white folks to go to jail, they don't go to jail. Especially the ones that kill black people. So I'm a little bit confused here.
Yeah, and I would gladly help trying to straighten some of this out. Now, again, and several, if we look at the case of George Floyd, in that city, I believe that's called the. Don't quote me on this, 'cause I don't know the exact word for that practice that he was doing with kneeling on a person's back. But that is taught to the officers for them to use that force for whenever they deem necessary. So again, do we complain about the situation, or do we go after that law? In history, you can get laws changed. Right now, we have the influence. We definitely have the influence and the support from the community to get these laws changed, but we're not working to change the laws. We're not working to change these laws. What's happening in these communities across the board is you have crooked laws. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I've looked into every case, because I have not. So when you ask me about certain cases that I don't know, I can't speak on those. But from the cases that I do know, that is what some people call it the area of shaded gray, where something is not illegal but it's not legal. And then so you have this case who come, for instance, the Breonna Taylor case. Now some people said that her family got justice. However, I think that was in, what is that, Kentucky, where they went after the no not warrant, which got thrown out. Well, before I say that, let me give you guys a receipt for that. But 1 second.
You don't need no receipts, brother. Just keep going.
Yeah. But now, what I'm saying is this, man. When we look at the task force, there are several officers in the task force that are messed up, that are crooked, that are white supremacists, that are racist, and that need to be weeded out, and they should be replaced.
So let me ask you this question. You said there are several in the task force that need to be weeded out. Here's my next question. Is it in one city or is it in several cities or majority of cities in America? Which one?
I believe that in every city you can find officers that should not be qualified to be an officer. You find officers that are out on the streets that are not.
So
They don't have
hold up. So you're saying in every city I could find officers that shouldn't be officers because they're possibly suspected white supremacists?
No, I said they should not be officers on the basis of them, one, being racist, two, not having the proper training
Okay,
to be
brother,
out.
brother. So now you're contradicting yourself. Doesn't that make it a system if it's the entire United States?
No, not necessarily, because it's just like you saying or making a claim right now that there aren't criminals in every community. There are criminals in every community, but every criminal in every community may not be a violent criminal. They may not be a person of this descent or of that descent. So,
Okay, but there should be no criminals in the police department.
well,
That
that
shouldn't
that
that
that is
shouldn't
the
exist. Period.
ideal. What you're talking about right now, that is the ideal. So the ideal is that every officer and the task force should be a good person or should be morally good. Whereas that is not the case. You have the task force that are hiring people left and right because they're understaffed, and the people
Okay,
that
but
go against them that may not
you
have the
just
best.
said you just said the majority of the United States have bad officers that should not be on the force. So doesn't that make it a system that we're in where there's a whole bunch of white supremacists all over the place? Isn't that a system? If it's all over the United States, does that not make it a system?
I mean, again, Rich, you're trying to get me to say that there is a system.
I'm not trying to get you to
No.
nothing. I ask you a
Well,
question, either yes or no.
I've said no like four or five times now. Whereas again, you can have a system set up
Okay, so if
where
you
there
said
are
no,
crooked people
then
in
by
it.
definition you're contradicting yourself.
No, I'm not.
You
Because
said
again,
there's not a system of white
okay,
supremacy. Okay,
let
you
me
said
ask you this.
wait,
Let
wait,
me
wait,
ask
wait,
you this.
wait, 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 wait. You said
Okay.
there's not a system of white supremacy. I
Mm-hmm.
got that. But now
Mm-hmm.
you just said there are bad police officers all throughout the United States. Does that
Well, of
not make
course.
it a
So,
system of white
okay,
supremacy
let
where
me ask
white
you this. Do you eat cereal? I know that's a very ludicrous question. It's very basic, but I'm going to get to a point. Do you eat cereal?
brother, once again, you're the guy in the car driving down the one way street.
No, the reason why I'm asking this, and the reason why I keep referencing simple things like this, because it's a honest question. Um, if you look at anywhere, if you look at bananas, not every banana is going to be either green, yellow, or have brown spots on it. But that does not mean that whole rack of bananas are bad. So again, it is very possible to have bad apples in the task force, just like it is very possible to have, as you say, white supremacists in a system that are operating. But that does not make that system a system of white supremacy. I don't believe that. Now, if you can show me receipts of this, or you guys can give me examples of this, I I would be more than happy to discuss this with you guys. I think on a wide scale basis, what's happening in the communities are happening because you have crooked laws, you're having crooked judges that needs to be addressed.
Okay, let me ask this question then for you, Will. How do you feel about the thin blue line, the blue wall? Because, like you said, you're saying there's more good cops than bad cops, but we also have the blue wall that is basically told to cops that you cannot say anything against other cops, no matter how egregious it is, because of a code.
Well, again, that comes back to the task force. So whenever you have it's almost like a brotherhood. Whenever you have a brotherhood or any type of organization, it will be widely practices of you not speaking against the people in that same organization. However, in 2022, there are other officers that are speaking out against officers that are committing these crimes, that are doing things that are wrong, and that's what we need to encourage in the community. Whereas the reason why I push back so hard on that point is because you have several people of the task force that are leaving their jobs because they don't want to be labeled as certain things. The reason why that's going on is because you do have these officers that are getting more publicity, doing something bad and something wrong, and that's something that they should be punished for. Then you have the police force that are out here helping people cross the street. They're out here doing good things for the community. They're out here supporting the community. And I think with the new black media, that's one of the points that you guys made maybe
No,
one time.
no, no, don't name the new black media because you don't believe in nothing the new black media says.
Well, that's not
You
necessarily
just said you just
you.
said you just said officers are helping people cross the street. I don't think nobody needs help crossing the street. I think we got that. I know how to cross the street very
Well,
well.
that is a simple claim. However, there are senior citizens in every community. There are people that are blind in every community. There are people that do need help in every community, and
Okay,
that sometimes there are
sir,
officers that are there to help them.
do you believe in propaganda?
Well, yes, of course, propaganda is very true.
Okay. Right now, you what you're spewing is propaganda talk
Not,
because what
so
you're saying, officers crossing the street, that's propaganda that NBC and CNN and all those news that's the exact thing they do. They take a video, they pretend like a officer was helping an old lady walk the street. They make it go viral on Facebook, make it go viral on Instagram, so they can have people crying and putting laughing emojis and thank you emojis so that we can feel bad for these officers. And the next time they kill one of our children, we could feel bad and we could have some sympathy. Right now, you're just spewing
well, no.
white supremacist propaganda. That's exactly what you're
Well,
doing.
Rich, let me ask you a question. This is a yes or no question. Is every cop bad?
Yes, in the system of white supremacy, every single cop on this damn planet is bad. Yes.
So every cop that is
Correct. You asked me you said it
okay.
was yes or no question. I said yes. Every single cop on this goddamn planet is bad. If
That
you're
is
in a
false.
system of white supremacy, if you're in a system of white supremacy and your colleagues is practicing white supremacy, then you and your motherfucking colleagues is bad. Yes.
That is false. Not every cop is bad, but you do have
Okay, show
bad
me the
cops.
good cops. Show me the good cops.
Give me
Point
one.
them out.
Give me 1 second. And now, the funny part about this is that this debate was about reparations and race relations. But right now we're having debate over the task force.
I spanked you. I spanked you on that section. I'm spanking you on
No,
this one.
no. So what
Do,
happened earlier?
do you
You
have
actually
anything
are
you want to get?
you're deviating. You're deviating from the actual discussion, and now we're
Okay.
having discussion
So you want to
over
go back to
over
reparations?
cops.
You want
No. I
another?
mean, we can stay right here where we are, because we were talking about the prison reform because that's the point that I made, and when I made the point of the prison reform, I went about it at a different way. I said that we have to look at the people that are in prison right now that are in there for nonviolent crimes that are in there from the crime bill or from the three strike law. Where
So
if you
who
commit the
so
same
so
crime three
so
times,
who's the majority in prison? Who's the majority of people in prison right now that are you referring to? White people, black people, Spanish people? Who are they?
Rich, you answer your own question.
No, I don't know the answer. I'm asking you. Who are the people that you're referring to when you say prison reform? White people, black people, Chinese people, or Hispanic people? What group of people?
All people, but I'm mainly referring to black people or
Dude,
minorities.
dude, really? Are you really saying prison reform should go to all people? Are you really saying that right now?
No, you asked me who do I believe, or when I speak on these claims of nonviolent claims in the community, who am I speaking upon? I said I'm speaking on everyone in the community. However, my focal point is on black and minority people.
That is
Is
not
what I
what you
said.
just said just now, brother. That is not
Well,
what you just said.
so the good thing about these debates is that they are all recorded. So, and you tried to do this in a former time when you said I said something that I never said. So after this debate, people can go back and listen to that, and you'll hear me make the claim again where I said that my focal point was the black people in the community or the black people that are in
Okay,
prison for nonviolent crimes.
okay, co-host, whatever direction you guys want to go. I don't know if you want to bring other people up and ask questions or whatever the
I
case may
actually
be,
have
but
two more questions, and then we'll bring people up. And we're going to try to make these two fast because maybe at 11 o'clock I'm going to start bringing people up. So I'll start with Rich on this. What are your current thoughts? What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Let me mute my.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, Rich, I'll start with you. What are your current thoughts on the state of black manhood in America, and do you believe there is a war on the black man?
A- Absolutely 100% there's war on the black man. Number one is the black man. Number two is the black women. Number two is the black child. There's absolutely a war on black men, women, and children. Black man is first, black women second, black child third.
Thank you for that. Brother Will, you're up.
Again, could you ask the question one more time, please?
What are your current thoughts on the state of black manhood in America, and do you believe there is a war on the black man?
In a sense, yes.
This is the same guy who said the system of white supremacy doesn't exist. How could a system of white supremacy does not exist, but you believe in a sense that there's a war going on? That's a direct contradiction once again.
Not necessarily, because just because there is a war going on, or that there is a an idea of a war going on, does not mean that it is because white supremacy. The reason why I say in a sense yes is because in history, whenever you can take the image of a person and you make that out to be bad or wrong in a community, then that is the war that you're fighting. When you're fighting,
Okay, so who's doing that? Who's doing that? Who's taking
well,
our images and painting us as bad people? Who's doing
I mean,
that?
this comes. I hate to do this, man, but this comes back to what when we first started this conversation about
Brother,
racism.
every single question I ask you, you start babbling. Just answer
No,
the
so
question.
there's a difference between
Who's
babbling.
who's
There's a
painting
difference between babbling and getting back on top.
who's who's
So
painting
if we look at
who's
the
painting
image of the black male, and we
who's
look at
painting.
it throughout history, we look at
That's
different
not what I
things that
asked
were.
you,
Well,
sir.
the reason why
Sir.
it matters is because the reason why we're having this conversation is the effect of things that has happened throughout history concerning the image of the black male. Whereas right now, we
That's
if
not
we
what
have
I
this
asked you.
conversation. Well, you said
That's
is there the question that the host asked was
no. I asked you a question. I said who you said black people are black men are being painted bad. I said who's painting black men bad? Who's doing that?
okay to give you a direct answer. I would say you have several sources in the media.
The media, you said?
Yeah, I mean you have the yes, you have the media.
Okay, who owns the media?
Depends on which company you're talking about.
CNN.
Well, I mean, Rich,
Okay, you
if
don't
I
know. The
no
answer
no
is
no the right.
the answer is Robert Murdoch. Okay, NBC. Go ahead.
Well, Rich, so you're asking me questions about various groups that are all on the same page of pushing a specific narrative. Now, to get back to what I said, getting back on topic, is the war that we are fighting is not necessarily about a black or a white war. The war that we're fighting, or that I'm talking about in a sense, is the image of the black male. The image of the black male has been under attack for over it's 2022, so over 300 something years, over about 300 something years.
Okay,
It
who's doing
started
it? Who's doing it? Who's doing
well,
it?
currently you have several narratives from the media. Again, I've answered this question now. If you let me make my point, the reason why I'm saying this is because whenever you had whenever you, and this comes back to Will Lynch that I mentioned the other day, whenever you had people or black men in the community that were once upon a time looked at as being stable men, looked at as being independent, looked at as being the head of their family, and then that image got tarnished. And now you only thing you see, you don't see many black successful people that are getting perpetrated in the media. You're seeing more so rappers. You're seeing more so various things. And you speak on this too, Rich. When you say if you're a street dude, you know the things you say. But that is the image that is being pushed to the community. So I think that is what we have to fight up against. That's why you have different organizations that are about showing a different image to the community about a black man. A black man is successful. A black man is strong. A black man is a provider for his family. And I believe that
Okay,
everyone in here that puts
but
the B1 agenda would agree with that.
you said it was the media that was painting black people
Yes,
as bad as all of the above. But this media that you're talking about are owned by nothing but white people.
I
Literally,
said
the lit time out. The Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos.
right.
CNN is owned by Robert Murdoch. All of these people are white people. So, like I said before, you said we're not in the system of white supremacy, but I proved to you that the media you're talking about is owned by white folks. I proved to you that there's a system, and you said that racist. there are racist cops all over the United States, which that by definition makes it a system. So once again, I see that you're running from the word white supremacy and you're running from the word the system of white supremacy. You're running from those two words. So it sounds like you don't want to hold white folks accountable. You don't want to hold the system of white supremacy accountable. You don't want to hold the dominant society accountable. It sounds like I don't know, maybe it's a personal thing, or I don't know what it is, but every subject you bring up, it all leads back to white supremacy, and it all leads back to the system of white supremacy. So I just want to know what's going on. Why can't you just keep it 100 and say we are in a system of white supremacy?
Because saying that is saying something that is not true. That is very false. Now, again, when you say, well, do me a favor right now. Bring clarity to the situation. When you say white supremacy, what are you referring to?
The system of white supremacy.
What is that?
This is a system that white people control throughout all sectors of society: law, labor, politics, religion, sex, war. Every single section of society they control. Now, we mentioned economics, and I prove that white supremacists control the economy and what we do in it and how much money we make based on the two articles I mentioned from Wells Fargo's. Just those two alone. I got way more, but just those two alone. You mentioned we mentioned the police department. I prove that white supremacists have infiltrated law enforcement all over the United States. We mentioned so it was the economy, police, and I think it was one more. Mass media. I prove that the media you said that paints black people as bad. I prove that white folks own the media. So is this not a system to you or what?
No. Okay. So again, Rich. So what's going on right now is you're taking various things that we have talked about in this debate, and you're using them to be put into a specific category. Again, you're doing what you said that people do to you, where you're taking people's points and you're trying to mush them into fit your narrative. Now, the point that I was making earlier is that this has been something that's been going on for a very long time when you're talking about dismantling the image of a black man in the community. Now, again, the reason why I do not say that there is a system of white supremacy is one, because I honestly don't believe there is one. However, I do believe that there are white people there are white supremacists that are in power or that are in position that needs to be replaced. Again, we consider, I mean, when you look at Congress, when you look at different entities in the United States, when you have people that have been up there that have outwardly supported racism or outwardly supported different things that are still making laws that some people would argue that are
Let me ask you this question. So you don't believe that you believe that there's white supremacists out there, but you don't believe it's a system. I got that. So are you saying that you don't believe white people have enough power to have a system like this? Is that what you're saying?
well, no. So we haven't mentioned power at all. However, when I look at a system, man, I hate to say it like this. I look at the system completely different. So again, we can compare and argue the point of white supremacy or not all night long. However, if you ask me what system do I see a system that is about keeping certain people or certain
Okay. Okay, wait,
keeping
one second. I'm gonna
the
let you
poor
go.
and the rich rich.
I'm gonna let you go. But
Right.
I'm gonna read to you the definition of system: a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or
Mhm.
interconnecting network. That's what a system is. That means it's multiple pieces put in one, all for one agenda. Now, we mentioned, I mentioned, matter of fact, you said it out your mouth that there are white supremacists all throughout the United States in law enforcement. Did you say that or did you not say that?
Well, of course.
Okay, so is that not a system? Yes or no?
uh, Again, so this comes back to a fundamental clash. Whereas, again, I would say this all day, all night long. You do have messed up, bad people in a system that are operating. However, these same people can be replaced if we're
Okay,
saying
that
that,
whether they could be replaced or not, that's not the
mhm,
point. You just
well,
said they're in a system. Is that not a system of white supremacy where they end up
no,
killing
so
us and shooting us
that
in the
okay,
back and get away with it? Is that not a system?
so so uh
You
so
mentioned
well, no,
out of
Rich,
your
well, brother Rich, no, no, let me bring
out of your
clarity to
7
what I said.
points
So when
out
we
of
look at this,
out
no,
of
no.
your
So what we can't do, you
out
cannot
of
take my
out,
7 points and then try to get these to fit your narrative. Now, again, we still have not. I don't think we mentioned in depth what when I spoke about prison reform, what exactly I wanted to see. When I spoke about financial literacy, what exactly I wanted to see. When I spoke about education, so what you can't do is take the points that I made and say, okay, well, because you made this point that you didn't explain, this point means this. No, Rich, all day and night long, or brother Rich, excuse me, 'cause I believe in civility. But when we look at a system, or when I look at a system, I look at the system for as it is. Are there messed up people in the system? Yes. Are there people in the system that should not be there? Yes. Are there bad people in the system? Yes. Should these people be removed? Yes. How do we remove these people from that position? One with money, one with power. How do we get power? You get unity. This comes right back to the first point I made with us coming together. What we're doing right now is very productive because you're having two people from opposing views. They're saying in similarity and some differences that yes, there is something that we need to address. Now, the reason why I do not support saying that there is a system of white supremacy, because at the same time that you say that, you're disenfranchising the black person and or disenfranchising black power. The reason why I say that is because the only way that something can be supreme or over or dominate is if there's something that is lesser value or less powerful, and that is a very wrong statement, especially now if we're asking for equality.
okay, so are we not less powerful than white people?
Heck no, we're not. Now, again, you have 41.1 million black people in America. If we could come together, put our differences aside, we could get things done. At the same time that we're coming together, it's in history when things got done, you had everyone in the community fighting for a specific cause. So now, if we're looking at the task force, to me,
Okay,
I think a very well, no, no. So, Rich, no,
There
give
was
me.
sir.
I
Hold on,
need
time out,
45
time
to
out.
make
There
this
was an
point. The
art.
reason why I need the
Time
45
out. There was an
point
article.
is so we can get on the same point. Now, after I finish this, you can tell me about your article. But
There
before
was
that,
a listen. There was
whenever
an article that
well,
came out a few years ago
Rich. So
that
whenever
said
you give a point or whenever you ask for a rebuttal, right? I will be quiet. I will let you say your whole entire point until you get it
but
out.
bro, you're
However, whenever I
babbling.
speak, no,
You're
it's a difference
babbling.
between babbling and stating facts. Stating facts. One of the reasons why slavery was in it because you had people, several people in the community who stood together to overthrow a system, to overthrow something that was messed up. And now in 2022, we can't get these same people to overturn anything because why? We're attacking the people that we need to be fighting with to overthrow something that's messed up. So if we're not willing to come together and actually have a talking point, like if we're going to go
Okay,
after police brutality, let's go after it.
let me ask you this question one more time because I need some clarity. You said we're not more powerful. You said white people are not more powerful than us, correct?
On the gist, I don't believe that any race is powerful than another
Yes or
race.
no?
Again, no, no. There is
So
no
why
group of people
is
that's more powerful than another group of people.
why is it that there was an article that said it would take black people literally 233, I think it was 233 years to catch up to white people? Why does that article exist? Uh 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 why did they come up with that article? Are they lying? Because you said we're not more powerful. We are more powerful than white people. How is it that we're more powerful than them and it's going to take 233 years to catch up to them? Please answer.
It takes another one of my points where we talk about the education system. So whenever you now again, I would have to read that article so I can
So
understand.
basically,
If they
they're more powerful because we're not educated. Is that what you're
No, no,
saying?
no.
Also,
I never said that we were not educated. But if you look at the education system in inner city schools or in schools that are, or in communities, excuse me, that are low income, and you compare these schools or the school districts or even the productivity of that school compared to a school in the suburb, you will see that schools in the suburb graduate at a higher rate. Why? Because they get better information, they have better teachers, they have better this, better that. Whereas you have school zonings in different communities that make students go to this specific school because that is the zone that you live in, no matter if it's a good school, no matter if it's a bad
so
school.
basically, what you're saying is they're ahead of us by 233 years because they have opportunities than us, such as schools and zoning and all of that stuff. Is that
Well,
what you're
no, no,
saying?
no. So no. So if we're going to deal with what put a certain group of people ahead of other groups of people, we have to look at the different periods that there have been in the American history, which is getting back on the points that I made earlier. When you had the Homestead Act, when you had different acts which really allowed Western civilization to thrive based upon European descent, or for basis of the conversation, a specific group of people being white, where they were basically given
Let me
land, where
ask
they
you
were
this
given all
question.
this stuff
Wait, guys. Whoa,
to
whoa, whoa, whoa.
expand, and then you have one group of people that.
I got
All right, hold on, guys. I appreciate the liveliness, but we got to keep this moving. I know you guys got more to
I
say.
got one more question. Quick question. I just got one more question for him.
Please make it quick.
During slavery, do you believe we were in a system of white supremacy during slavery? Yes or no? Will is googling the answer, guys.
No.
Give him a minute.
No, I don't have to Google anything. The reason why I hesitate to answer this question is because if I answer
Brother,
this question,
yes
I'm not.
or no?
I'm not going to answer that question, man. What I will, and the reason why I won't answer that question is because if I say yes or if I
Oh,
say
you're not
no,
answering the question.
no, I'm
Hey,
not.
wait. Wait. We can't do that. He asked the question. We can't do that
No,
because what's going to end up happening is you're going to set yourself up when I start bringing the people up. You're not going to want to answer their questions. I don't want this to divulge into some bullshit.
Yeah, hey, answer the question, Will. That was
You
an
got to
honest
answer that
question,
question.
brother.
That's not right because then Rich is going to be able to start saying when you ask him questions, he's going to refuse it. We can't have this. I don't want people to think that you're dodging questions and you don't have answers.
Hey, fact, brother, this is a Black Alpha debate, man. We get real live and dirty, and we say what we got to
Look,
say, and it's uncut raw,
we're
man.
not going to criticize your answer if that's the way you feel. Just let your feelings out.
In a sense, I would say yes and no. The reason why I would say yes and no is because back in the slavery days, you did have a slave trade that was going on that implemented everywhere, that happened everywhere across the, the world. So I think that is a that is it's not a tough question, but again, so the reason why I hesitate on saying yes is because I know that it was a system that happened across everywhere in Africa and Asia, everywhere, where slaves were traded for goods, for services. But the reason why I would also say yes is because you had different people that literally studied how to make the so-called Negro. So that's why I said that's a tough question to ask. I can't give a yes, and I can't say yes and no. Was it a system like how we see today on the basis of what you guys are mentioning or what's being mentioned as white supremacy? In that sense, I would say yes. In the sense of a wide scale basis, I would say no, because on the basis of it happening everywhere.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we are at the end of the debate, so I will give each brother 60 seconds, 60, to give their final thoughts to everyone, and then we'll start allowing speakers to come up. I'm going to start bringing speakers up now. So, speakers, once I bring you up, please mute your mic while the brothers are talking for the next 2 minutes, and then I will call your name, and you will ask your question, and then you will be put down in the queue so I can keep it rotating. So, I will flip a coin right now to see who will go first to give their final thoughts. So, hang on. I'm going to let whoever call it in the air. Will, Rich, who wants to call it in the air?
Heads.
Okay, flipping now. It is heads. So, Will, you may have 60 seconds to make your final thought.
Yes, I believe that as Black Americans, we need to come together, work toward a common goal. I believe what happened tonight was a very great debate. Brother Rich was able to give his standpoint on several ideas that he had, and I was able to do the same thing. Ending, I believe that some of the points that he made, it will help me grow in some areas, and some of the points that I made, hopefully help him grow in some areas. But thank you guys for the debates. I'm looking forward to the questions from the panel.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Brother Will, and thank you for your participation. We know you know me. I'm down here in Atlanta as well, and it's late, so we appreciate it. Brother Rich, you are up. 60 seconds. Give your final thoughts.
I have nothing to say. My work speaks for itself.
All right, with everybody. With that said, send in requests. We're gonna speak to the brothers. If you got any questions to ask them, but keep it real, keep it cool. We say Brother Rich and Brother Will. You know what I'm saying? Don't saying you got to call them that, but we call when I speak to them Brother Rich and Brother Will, which means we all on the same thing. So don't come at them smashing on them or yelling and none of that stuff, man. They've been cool. If these brothers can have this type of debate without it getting too hot, even though it got a little hot, even if they can have this debate in a cool manner, we can have the questions in a cool manner. So everybody come on in and let's get it on.
May I make a request? Can I have Brother Will and Brother Rich with the waving emoji give the soul brother handshake? May I get that? Brother Will, Brother Rich, y'all got to change the skin tone of your waving emoji.
Yeah,
Unless
I'm
y'all
new
try
to
to tell
Twitter,
me
so I
y'all
don't know how to
Asian.
do that.
Unless y'all gonna tell me y'all Asian or you're one of the Simpsons, y'all got to change that. Thank you, brother.
I'm Blasian. I'm Blasian.
And my nigga. Thank you. I appreciate that. Black love. B1. Okay. Let's get started.